Okay, I think we are live. Hey, assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome back to our second webinar, Private Label Bootcamp. And inshallah, this webinar, we're going to continue from where we left off on the last one, just getting into some of the background and some of the basics and opportunities of private labeling. We're going to run through some more stats. And, we're spending a little more time on this because I think it's very important that everybody understands the big picture and truly understand how big this opportunity is. And I've used the word historic a few times, and I think that's an understatement. And so we'll go through some of this stuff. I've got a few private label items sitting right next to me. And this is a copper cup from a good friend of mine who is a $1 million seller. Here is another private label item. This is a copper mug. Here is another item, and this one, tptherapy.com. This one here is actually, it's like a back roller for massage. So my wife and I try to hit the gym every day, and this is good for like sore muscles and things. I'd recommend you look at this guy, tptherapy.com. And here's a private labeler that is just crushing it. This guy is killing it. If you see his sales on Amazon, you'll see that he is absolutely through the roof. So the 2 or 3 products that I just showed you really quick, and I have another one here. This is like a bedspread. So, as part of this venture, my wife kind of has a leeway to shop as much as she wants, because I look at whatever she buys and I learn a lot from the way sellers put their products together. So the point is, these are individuals who started in this business and are totally crushing it now. And I recently posted on our group that we're about to hit $50,000 this year. That's part-time. This is not Robin nor I's full-time job. We're just doing this part-time. We're just getting started. And we anticipate next year to be at least minimum 5x that. And I think it's very, very achievable. So having said that, let me get started on our webinar. And I am going to hand this over to Robin, who's going to be driving most of this webinar today. And I'm going to chime in here and there. But with that, Robin, why don't you go ahead and take the next 20 minutes and kind of walk us through and outline the big opportunities.
All right, guys. Good to have you back. I think there's a little feedback. Do you hear?
Can you lower my volume a little bit? Maybe that'll help.
Right. So the equation for a successful e-commerce really comes down to those 4 variables that we spoke about in the last webinar. Choosing the right product, which by far is the most in-depth, time-consuming piece, which we can shorten it. There's some tools, there's some software to help you, triangulate your product, but that is the most important piece. But once you have that important piece, you also need to have the right market for it, and also having it at the right time with the right marketing. You might have a great product in the perfect market, in the perfect time, the holiday season, but you're not marketing it correctly, you're still not gonna earn those dollar signs. So these 4 ingredients, which we're gonna come back to over and over again, we will walk you through and help you master each one. So that's really what we're gonna be focusing on. And a lot of other courses, they'll say, hey, here's how you find the right product. Here's how you find your $1 million product, right? But they're not gonna talk about the market and the timing and the marketing, right? And so you might spend, $1,000 on your first order, $2,000 to $3,000 on your first order, and it's just sitting there, right, in FBA. It's not moving because you're not marketing it correctly. So there's a lot of things that really go into the soup of a real, true, rocking e-commerce business. So want to go on, Naeem, next one?
Yeah, just to add to that, I would say, like Robin is saying here, guys, this requires sweat equity. Stay far away from any courses that are telling you you're going to make 25 grand in 30 days.
Yeah.
That's all BS. Okay, don't get taken into that, because we've looked at a lot of courses, we've taken a lot of courses, so this is not a quick rich scheme. You got to really work at it. Like anything worthy, you got to put in the sweat equity.
Right, right. And it's about the journey. Every day you learn more. Every week you turn into our webinars, and we take these little baby steps every day. And you learn some things, and we'll give you some homework assignments you can play with. Very simple things you can do in your own time, but you're adding to your knowledge base. You're becoming a knowledgeable e-commerce seller without even having touched your hand on a product yet. You need to know the market, the wonderful opportunity that there is, and be inspired to really reach higher levels. And we're going to help you through that. So to kind of dig deeper into the statistics of this great opportunity we have, looking back about a year ago, Feedvisor.com and WebRetailer.com, they did a survey of 200 big sellers on e-commerce, and they asked them, where they sell and how much profit they make, and their expansion plans and the automation software they use, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm going to, here's the link right there, and so I'm going to dig into their findings. So if you guys, Naeem, go ahead. Right. So again, we're talking about Amazon, the big opportunity. So in their survey, they found that 4 times as many make $1 million on Amazon than on eBay. If you look at that little purple stripe there, you see on the right-hand side you have eBay, the eBay circle graph, and on the left you have the circle graph for Amazon. You see that purple stripe? That's the $1 million to $10 million range. So on eBay, about 4% of eBay sellers make about $1 million to $10 million a year. Now, eBay, it has many hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of more sellers than on Amazon. I mean, there's no comparison. eBay is all about private labeling, right? It's all about the individual seller, right? eBay itself doesn't sell things, right? They're a bidding and sales platform. So it's a pure seller environment. A lot of you guys out there that are thinking about going to e-commerce, you might think, oh, Craigslist, eBay, right? And that's great. And those are great e-commerce sites. But for long-term sustainable growth, you really want to look into private labeling, and we're here to talk about that through all our webinars. So whereas Amazon, you see almost 15%, 14.6% of sellers on Amazon make between $1 million and $10 million a year. Right, and it's only growing, right? And you can also look the 100,000 to 1 million, 40%, almost half, and that could be including you guys, right? Of Amazon sellers make $100K to $1 million every single year, whereas on eBay you have about 26.5%, right? With Amazon, 35% make about 10K through 100K, and that's about the same for eBay as well. So you see that the opportunity in terms of making big money is much greater on Amazon.
Yeah, I would just add, Robin, that obviously it's not necessarily one or the other. So
Right.
We sell stuff on eBay as well as on Amazon, but really our focus is Amazon, just because of the opportunity. It doesn't compare. Now, we don't want to leave anything on the table. So
Right.
of course, there's software, there's tools that you can, whatever you're selling on Amazon, you can automatically sell on eBay. And that's kind of getting into some of the advanced stuff that we'll get into in some future webinar. But this is a comparison between the various sales platforms out there. And Amazon is really, just a great, great opportunity to start with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's very important to diversify across the various e-commerce channels. eBay is a giant, and it's very important to have a presence there because, when people are shopping, they're thinking eBay, Craigslist, Amazon, in any one of those orders. And so they will check those. And so having a presence, like a presence on Amazon, eBay, are very important. I just want to point this out that, just the opportunity for growth and really big money is on Amazon. And, when I first, and I mean, I've been a member of Amazon since it started. I mean, late, 1990s. And even until really last year, I didn't know anything that I figured, okay, I have some books I could sell, right? I didn't think that, heck, I could sell anything on Amazon. I can go into and make my own brand. I mean, just making your own brand. I mean, that never even crossed my mind. And yet, these are the people. You look in the purple area and the green area. Yeah, over the majority of people are making $100,000 a year on Amazon. So it's great stuff. All right, keep going. So they also asked them these sellers, do you sell on any of their platforms besides online marketplaces? Okay, so do you have a brick and mortar store? And you know, the vast majority, you know, said no. So they really sort of focus on you know, the e-commerce side of that. Okay. So which other marketplaces are you looking to expand to? So here are some other channels that you know, folks are looking to. So 36% were looking to expand into Rakuten. Now Rakuten is a great marketplace. It used to be the old buy.com. There are lower profit margins there, but it's still sort of like a baby Amazon, you know, and that's something that is, you know, could be a sleeping giant. And so a lot of people are sort of creeping more and more into that. Very interesting, at the very bottom, you see Amazon. So this speaks to me positively in two ways. Either 6% out of the 200, you know, didn't understand, or, you know, wasn't aware that they could sell on Amazon. They weren't aware of the ability for private labeling. So, you know, 6% of 200, what's that, like 8 people or something like that. So these, you know, very few people didn't understand that they could sell on Amazon, or, you know, 93% of the 200, these, you know, 190 odd people, they're already selling on Amazon. They're already there. That's their main channel, right? So either way, it speaks to the, you know, the great opportunity, you know, that is Amazon.com. So. You know, which other marketplaces? Again, you know, so this is really, again, you know, having more sales channels, you can get more exposure, more eyeballs looking at your product. You're gonna have a higher chance of selling, of course, more sales and more profit. And so you see these various channels here, but it really by being everywhere your customers are, when they are in their buying mode, right? When people go to Amazon, they're not there, they're there to buy. You know, vast majority people are on Amazon to buy things, right? They're not there to just kind of play games and waste time. You and I, as private labelers, right, we spend a lot of time on Amazon researching, right? I do buy on Amazon, right? But, you know, I buy on other places too. But there are people that just spend their life on Amazon buying things. And when they're there, they're in buying mode. And any of these places, right? So you can leverage these marketplaces to, you know, gain more sales when they're in their buying mode. So having more channels and more accounts, you get more exposure. The people that are selling and making the big bucks, again, are on Amazon and eBay, as in the circle graph. But you can see some of the other statistics from the other channels here. So, you know, people who are selling in Rakuten, about 55% are making under $10,000 a year. And some people are, hey, that's great. You know, I mean, I just want to make a couple $100 a month. You know, try to pay my gas bill or electricity bill, and that's great. And that could be enough for people, or they want to you know, have enough money to take a trip to see their mother or whatever. I mean, these are things that you know, there's a lot of people that really aren't into e-commerce, you know, to make a killing. They're there just to kind of chug along and kind of, you know, make some money if they can. But the people that are really serious about it, you can see here, 40%. Right, of Amazon sellers make 100K a year, and well over half. You could see half. I mean, the vast majority, 91%. You can see that there. 91% of Amazon sellers. That's over 9 out of 10 sellers. That's, you know, 90% of our audience right now, when they start their private label endeavor, are going to make $10,000 a year minimum in their venture. And that's with very little work. There's some work at the beginning, right? But once you start in your account, and once you have, you know, once you understand the nuances of listing and inventory management, once you've got that under your belt, you know, a couple weeks of learning, it's, you know, the machine starts to run on itself, you know, and perpetuate. What's your average profit margin? So you can see here the profit margin is quite substantial. So 46% of sellers, let's say 46 and 23, so about 70% of the Amazon sellers are reporting at least a 10% margin. and most are reporting between 20 and 50% margin, and that's very easy. That's very easy to take. Now, if you look at eBay, they are also, it's pretty much neck and neck. But I attribute that, the profit margin for eBay being a little bit higher because eBay's fees are a little bit lower. They're about half as much as Amazon. Amazon takes, you could say on average, I'd say about 30%, and eBay will take about 15% on average, and that's with PayPal, I believe. So I mean, so you can see that there's more of a cut with Amazon, but that's because of FBA, right? They will store your inventory and label your inventory and pick, pack, prep, and ship your inventory. So there's a lot more sweat equity on Amazon's part than eBay. With eBay, you still have to go to the post office and post it. So yeah, so you can see Amazon and both eBay are great channels. What you have the profit margin, so you can see here, at least half of people. So 55% of sellers operate with margins over 20%. So you can see that the e-commerce space is highly profitable. 20% of sellers operate under 10%. Now, there's a reason why we do private labeling, and I can speak more to this as well. But he's done a lot, and I've done a lot of online arbitrage and retail arbitrage, and he discussed that in our last webinar. But the problem with that is that you may own the product, you may own 100 pieces of some sunglasses or whatever, but you don't own the brand. And so you're competing with 20, 30, 80 other sellers, for this, for the Amazon buy box. And there is no secret formula to mastering the Amazon buy box, right? You can do the pay-per-click campaigns, and we'll talk about that in sponsored products. But the idea is that it's there isn't one thing you can do to sort of lay claim to the buy box, especially when you're doing a non-private label item. So if you're selling some mainstream product from Oakley sunglasses or something like that or whatever. I mean, Chanel perfume, right? I mean, these are great sellers. You can have great margins on it, right? You said some great deals you get, you want to flip it, but they could be selling, sitting there for a while. And you're like, hey, I got these sunglasses. They're selling for $200. I got them for $80. It's being listed on Amazon for 180. Heck, let me just I'll sell mine for 160. I go check it, and there's 10 other people selling it for about $160, $180, and so we're all fighting over price. I go in at $160. I undercut everyone by $20, right? The idea is that I'm going to get more sales, right? Well, then the other sellers, if they have, they're checking their inventory, they're checking, the prices of their SKUs, or they have repricing software, and we'll talk about that. They're gonna say, hey, okay, I'll sell mine for $159, and I'm like, hey, he's going lower. I'll sell mine for $158, and so it's this race to the bottom, right? This RTBers, right? So that's when your margins start to go just lower and lower and lower, and that's the beauty of private label because you own it. Ain't no one gonna compete with you when you own your own product. All right, keep going. So where do they sell? So here's some of the big categories. You can see almost half of these professional sellers sell in home and kitchen. Toys and games, baby products, beauty and health. These are all consumable home and family life essential products. These are the things that you touch every day, you consume every day, and if you can go in and design some private label product that is a consumable or a family life essential baby product or a beauty product or a game or a toy or anything in the kitchen, right? I mean, one of the big sellers was those zucchini slicers or the apple core, peelers, right? I mean, when that was being private label, the guy was killing it. Now a whole bunch of people are in on it, right? So there's a lot of really great money in that. And then, of course, the leisure items come in the second tier, the electronics, the books and the sports and outdoors, things that you'll buy once, maybe twice, right? A couple things. Unless you diversify a lot in books and diversify a lot in electronics and things like that, or kind of know what you're selling in books. And it's there's the first sort of pioneer millionaires on Amazon were all in books. They're all in books and electronics. So, but you can see as the advent of the private label era has reared its head and it's growing. A lot of people are getting into the home and kitchen and the toys and games.
Yeah, and I would say these are the top categories. However, there's opportunities across the board here. Grocery is a really interesting one. You're beginning to see Amazon come right to your doorstep with Amazon Now, 2-hour delivery. And what Amazon is basically doing is making deals with local sellers. I was talking to a vitamin fruit smoothie guy who was at my gym, and he's talking to Amazon about supplying that with a local delivery. So there really is opportunities everywhere. Halal meats, halal products, that could be very interesting. I don't know if that particular category is quite taken off just yet, but that's definitely an area to look out for. Grocery, if you have the connections or network or interest.
All right. So again, how many SKUs or how many products, how many represent the majority of your revenue? So you can see here that 87% of people make their money on fewer than 1,000 SKUs, right? So you can see that the number of SKUs that, 44% of the e-commerce sellers have in between 100 and 1,000 SKUs. 13% have between 1 and 100. And the beginning private labelers like us, we're gonna have between 1 and 100, right? We're gonna be in that red slice there, right? But then as we start to diversify and have different colors and different sizes of your private label, different packaging, different bundles, definitely go into bundling, guys. Bundling is a big opportunity on Amazon. You're gonna have more and more SKUs, right? And there's some SKUs that are sitting dead, right? I mean, there's a lot you can see here that a huge amount have over 1,000 SKUs, and that could be just old dead inventory as well. But you can see here that the vast majority, 46%, make their money on less than 1,000 SKUs, right? Between 100 and 1,000, and 41%, make less than that, right? So they have one private label product, or a couple versions of that private label product, 1 or 2 or 3 SKUs. Right, that's where they make their money off those, right? So automation software is a really very important item, and that's something that we're going to be talking about in depth later. But vast majority of sellers, these professional sellers, they do not use marketplace management or automation software. More and more people are. You can see here that out of these 200%. 70% are looking for the inventory management, software, channel management. For example, if you're selling on different channels like eBay and Amazon, you can have something like Joe Lister, in which you can sell your Amazon product and it'll ship from Amazon to your eBay customers as they make orders. Repricers, over half are looking to, and that's very important. I mean, I would think that would be much higher. There's so many different types of repricers, from Celery to Repricer Express, Reprice It, Mopio, AppEagle, Be Cool, Amon Pro. There's a bunch of different repricing software that will track other products, and we'll see sort of how they're selling, prices of them, and will adjust according to your criteria, your metrics. Will automatically adjust the price. So that you'll get more chance at the buy box, and more people will look at your product because the pricing is more competitive. If you have a price, go back to those sunglasses. If you say, hey, these Oakley sunglasses are selling at $250, $200. Hey, I'll put mine in at 180, and then you kind of just leave it there and don't look at it. And then meanwhile, maybe the price is dropping. And now they're selling at $80, right? Meanwhile, your Oakleys are still selling at 180. No one's going to buy them, right? So having these repricing software automation tools are very important. And of course, the feedback, like Feedback 5 or BeCool is also a feedback software. Feedback Genius is great. So we'll talk about these as well. But e-commerce automation tools are crucial in expansion phase. At this point, we should really look at crushing, 1, 2, 3 private labels at most, and then start to look into these. So we'll talk more about that later. Right?
Yeah, I would just add, Robin, we want to make sure that as new sellers or somebody who wants to get into selling, this chart can be a little overwhelming. And I would say this is really just informational. You don't need any of this to start. This is something that you're going to take step by step and learn and implement as needed. And that's something we'll cover in future webinars.
Okay, cool. 9, you guys. 9.
So so this is our last slide, and just to put a summary on this, we've presented a lot of data and a lot of information, and really at this point, a lot of you are still kind of wondering, how do you get started? Our next webinars, our next series of webinars are going to be more tactical, and we're going to talk about specific steps. But again, I think it is very important that you understand the mindset, you understand the big picture, and hopefully these past 2 webinars, this one and the previous one, give you that big picture. This is a long-term play. There's sweat equity involved. This is not an overnight success. You should not be making plans to buy a Ferrari in 6 months. Start slow, and it's, again, just learning and acting on what you learn. So hopefully you're getting motivated by the vision that we're putting together. It's something that we've experienced firsthand, and we know it's true. Again, I've shared the numbers that Robin and I have achieved so far within a few months. We're at almost $50,000 in sales. It's huge by some comparison, but it's small peanuts compared to other sellers out there. And the goal isn't that we want to be the biggest seller or that you should try to achieve $50,000. The goal is you achieve what's right for you. And for us, this is a great start, and within 3 months, being able to hit that number. And for us, we're setting a goal of achieving at least 5x that. I'm hoping 10x that, over the next 12 months. And I think it's very achievable based on the sales performance that we've already had. Use data to target your business planning and improve areas. And again, we'll talk more tactics and get specific about this. Get an Amazon account, make purchases, and get familiar with how the river works. If you don't already have an Amazon account, you need to jump on that. Start purchasing whatever you can on Amazon so you can understand the process. And also go ahead and open up a pro account. Amazon provides a lot of training videos. You need to be watching those. There's a lot of information we're going to share with you. We're going to go through a lot of things with you step by step, but the homework is still there. So you need to log in, get yourself a pro account. I think the cost is $30 a month or $50 a month. I can't remember. And it opens the door. You can sell as an individual, but you really want to get the pro account because it gives you reduced fees and a lot of other benefits, support preference, et cetera, et cetera. So open up a pro account and go ahead and start watching the tutorial videos that Amazon itself, Amazon University, provides for you. And also play with Alibaba. So if you don't have an account yet with Alibaba, it's free. Go ahead and open up an account with Alibaba. Watch some videos on that. We'll do some sessions on that as well, but it's good for you to go ahead and get started. So we're going to go ahead and conclude. Let me just stop this presentation. We're going to go ahead and let's see if I can stop this properly. Okay. All right, here we go. So we're going to head and conclude the webinar today. Again, hopefully you got some good insight from the session that Robin presented. And again, start doing some shopping on Amazon, create your account, start looking at opportunities, start looking at products a little differently. Again, I look at this guy and, go look this guy up on Amazon. He's got a little card over here, Trigger Point. Do a search on Amazon for Trigger Point. See what this guy is up to. And by the way, Robin or I don't have any association with this guy, so it's not like I'm pushing his product. I just think he's done such a good job. In the next few weeks, we're going to talk about how to launch your own product. How did this guy come up with this logo, which is a very, very nice logo? How did
I'm sure he didn't.
What's that?
I'm saying I'm sure he didn't.
Well, it's simple, it's nice, but he probably, to Robin's point, he probably outsourced the logo. And so you can go to Fiverr.com, and again, we're going to cover all this, but this is achievable. And I know that this guy sells thousands of these, every week or every month or whatever, but he's totally killing it. So, so that's it from us. Do your homework. Again, the point that's really we want to drive home is, guys, we need feedback. We need to know what you want us to present in our webinars. We're very fortunate. We have access to vendors. We have access to multi-million-dollar sellers, and we're going to start lining up interviews. Abe is on our roster. At some point, we're going to bring Abe on and interview him and see how did he do with his product. I mean, he's batting it out of the park. He's doing really well, along with lots of other sellers who've already gone down this path. So, but we want to hear from you. So comments, feedback, when we post this, share this with your friends and let us know what you'd like to see so that we can start putting together these webinars. And we're going to start doing them more frequently as well. We're just kind of getting warm and we're going to get cranking pretty soon on this. So with that, Robin, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'll let you end the call.
Sure. It's great. Yeah. So guys, it's a pleasure to be a part of this webinar series and to sort of help you guys explore this new private label opportunity. So with that, we'll end the webinar, and we'll see you on our next webinar coming pretty soon next week. Follow the group.
All right. Take care. Bye.